Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to this short video on a fewer questions, or actually a couple of fewer questions on the LS400. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. So the question was how to remove the body panels on the car. So you have the rocker panels down below and the panels on the door, which also continue in the wheel arch and the front fender over there. What you need to know is that the rocker panels are actually, where it says it's rocker panels, it's not one panel, and the front section overlaps the rear one. If you want to take both off, you have to take off the front first. And before you can take the front one off, it's easy to have that panel in the on the fender to come off first. So let's start over there. This front fender cover, that panel, is clipped and screwed into place. There are two screws in the wheel arch itself, and then you have two clips right about there, and it hooks in underneath. So take that off first. Then you have access to a hidden screw on the rocker panel where it sits about here. There's a screw in front, and I believe there's another one over there. Then open up the door. There are a couple of hidden screws. One is right there and the other one is just under the rear door. So the door opening, you need to take those screws out, and then you have to crawl underneath the car. Underneath the car you find these trim clips. So there's a plastic screw with a crosshead. You screw that out and then you can pull the plug out. And there are a couple along the way, and once you have all those screws and those trim clips pulled off, you can pull the entire rocker panel off. But you have to keep in mind there are also a couple of clips behind there. They become brittle over time and you can break them very easily. I have a sort of solution in there. I'll leave the link to that in the top corner. But anyway, and then you have the front cover off. Now let's continue with the rear one. So again, I have to open the door, because once this screw is out, this holds both the front and the rear one in place. But you have to remove another hidden screw which sits right there. And again, the trim clips on the bottom have to come off. Then you can pull that off. And finally, you can pull this little panel on the rear wheel arch cover off. One screw on top, there's a folding clip right there, and it hooks into here, and there are two clips behind it. Then you have that off. So then you have part of the panels and the rocker covers off. Now let's continue with the door panels. Now I've showed in couple of videos how to remove the door panels, so I'll leave a link to that in the top corner over here. But what is important to know, there are a lot of hidden screws which are addressed in that video. Recently I showed how to take this little panel off, and there are a couple of hidden screws. There's one over here in this connector for the vent. There is one over there from top of mind. There's one there, and in the lower section of the door are a lot of hidden screws. But anyway, those are shown in the separate videos. And you need to take the door panel off in order to take the outer panels off. And over here on the outside of the door, you can see this little plastic cover that covers a nut. You need to pull that off. And then, from the inside of the door, you have to remove the other connectors, bolts, nuts and clips in order to take the door panels off. And I'll now skip over to the workshop manual to show you how that is done. Now, to show you how to remove the panels from the doors, we have a peek in the workshop manual. And on a side note, I just noticed that this fender panel has a separate lower panel, but this is a pre-facelift workshop manual. Mine is a facelift version LS400, where the front rocker panel consists out of one part. Okay, back to the door panels. As you can see, here are some bolts that come in from the inside of the door. That bolt into sort of brackets and clips So if you want to take it off, you also have to remove the inner door card, and I'll leave a link to a video where I show you how to remove the door card and also the trim around the front windows. But anyway, you have to unbolt those bolts. And now we turn the page. Over here it shows how to remove the panels from the front door. So there is this list, a sort of wipe list that falls on the rocker panel that needs to come off. That is clipped and placed. You can pull it off, it says here. But I also know there are a lot of screws in this lower section. And then you have those 4 bolts. Those 2, this one I showed you. There's another one in front of the door, a little bit higher up. On the rear of the door is a screw and one hidden on the front, and then it shows you can pull it off because it is clipped in place. You start off in the front, or sorry, at the bottom and in the front of the door panel. Let's turn the page another time, and then you have this removal tool to clip it loose from the back. But I highly recommend to take the inner door panel off and unscrew all the bolts that you can find, and that is how you take the door panels off. So that in a nutshell is how you remove the rocker panels and the door panels from a first gen LS400. And as I just pointed out, there are small differences between the pre-facelift and the facelift of the first gen LS400. I'd much rather show you how to pull the door panels off in a video, but at this moment I don't have the need or space to show you and to film that. But when I do that, I'll make sure that I make a video on that subject. Anyway, I hope this is useful for other LS400 owners. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you in the next episode of Project LS400. Bye!